What good idea doesn't work? Because people are crappy. Leaving a bowl of candy in front of your house on Halloween with a sign saying take one. In high school we had this speaker one day who told a story. He said he would put a fake scarecrow on his porch for the weeks leading up to Halloween. Then, on Halloween, he would dress up in the outfit and sit on the porch holding a bowl with a sign please take one. Anyone who took more than one would get an awful scare when he jumped up and chased them. What in the holy frick is a real scarecrow? I just wish I could leave my bike unlocked, even for a minute. You can do this in Japan. A large downtown church had to remove its offerings for the poor collection boxes. Even though they were mounted to the wall and locked, people would smash them open and steal contributions generously given for those in need. My church stopped giving food out at the food pantry because a couple of dudes with a beef picked a fight in the church basement and one of them knifed the other. Now they just send the food to a distribution center. It sucks that there are more layers between people and the assistance they need, but the volunteer staff was all little old ladies. We had something similar happen. My brother and I were no longer allowed to volunteer at the soup kitchen when we were in our teenage years because some jackass tried to pick a fight with my brother, who was a 15-year-old kid at the time. Thankfully my brother was smart enough to do the want to take this outside thing, then as soon as the guy was outside locked the door behind him and called the cops. Online chat rooms such as Omegle, Chatrowlet, etc. It's a nice idea that helps lonely people to cope from the convenience of their home, but people are far too creepy and they troll too much. Enough so to scare a lot of people away. So many beans, literally and figuratively. A local bakery used to give out the unsold bread at the end of the night. They had to stop when someone tried suing them saying the bread got them sick. The bakery I work at used to give unsold bread to a food bank, but they quit cause they found out food bank staff started selling the bread in secret. This is why we can't have nice things. FFS. Communism. But, then again, also capitalism. Most forms of government would qualify, honestly. Group projects. Expectation. A few people of differing opinions discuss a topic, offering different viewpoints to give an all-encompassing presentation. Reality. One or two people actually do the work. One person makes excuses to miss all of the work time. Another person tries to hastily add something before the project is turned in, so they can say they did something. And the last person only shows up day of presentation and asks which part they need to talk about. In high school we would have to present our group projects in front of the class. So my goal was to find the most socially awkward people I know who would hate to stand in front of everyone, so they would not be able to speak in front of everyone. I would make the deal, you guys do it, and I will present it. So I was that guy. Sorry. If you agreed ahead of time I think that's fair. Keeping public restrooms clean. Seriously. If you piss on the seat, clean it up. If you're a dude, lift the freaking seat. Shake the water off your hands while you are at the sink to keep the counter clean. If you drop some paper on the floor, pick it up. All these people that think bathrooms are disgusting are the ones who make it disgusting. On a similar note, don't leave the goddamn faucet running. Found this twice in the last month in the public bathroom at the restaurant I work at it. Like, WTF, who are these cretins? People who will do anything if they believe the responsibility isn't theirs. They are the people that employers should be putting on blacklists. Baggage carousels. Stand the frick back, people, and we can all reach our bags when they come round. Crowd into the carousel as close as you can get, and you block everyone whose bag happens to come out before yours. They all need a gentle slope away from the carousel, so it isn't comfortable to stand next to it. Dude, this could change the world. The 10 items or less express line. Still remember the Safeway 10 items express lane Nazi in my college days. I know I had 9 items. She told me to get off the express lane. I insisted. She rings me and counted each and every item out loud, and sure enough ended a 9 bish. Something similar happened to me. The maximum was 15. I had 12 items including a hand of bananas. It was an Albertsons, and when the bananas were in sale, they sold them by the unit. When they weren't, they were sold by weight. Confusing AF. Apparently they were on sale that one time, so at the end of the transaction it showed on the receipt that there were 16 items, and the snarky bitch told me that next time she wouldn't ring me up if I had more than 15. I didn't say anything because I hadn't seen the receipt and I was confused, but after I realized they counted each banana, I almost went back just to punch her on the throat. Keep right except to pass. In Germany it's law and people still have problems to do it. It's a huge problem in Florida, and when they tried to pass that law, Rick Scott shot it down cause he's a worthless piece of crap. Wikipedia's please donate $1, and if everyone in X country did we would end our campaign in an hour. You know what's weird? If I saw someone out in the street with a bucket raising money for Wikipedia, like a charity fundraiser does, I would happily chuck in £1. But going through the hassle of having to make an online payment for just $1 seems like too much hassle to me, so I never bother. And I should, because I use Wikipedia daily. I guess I'm a crappy person. If you saw someone out on the street taking donations for Wikipedia, it would undoubtedly be an addict scamming people. Academia as it's currently constructed. I'm all for life as an academic, but the current system rewards the wrong behavior. I googled academia because I thought it was an app. I'm a moron. No you're not. I bet you've got plenty of talent in your own area of interest. In 1967 the White Bicycle Plan was implemented in Amsterdam. It was a policy where thousands of unlocked white bicycles were placed around the city, free to use for anyone. People could just grab a bike they chanced upon, cycle to their destination and leave the bike there for someone else to use. Unfortunately the plan failed quickly, as most of the bikes were stolen in no time. What the heck, man? That would be so freaking awesome. Why steal something that's already readily available? I wanna have free to borrow bikes all around town. Paris had a similar bike program, which also failed, largely due to the fact that the bikes were treated like crap because people didn't own them. People will treat an object that they own much better rather than something that they simply borrow from the local government. Zipper method when merging two lanes in traffic. Most traffic actually. There's a good CGP Grey video on it. User-driven content websites where people can post anything and then upvote or downvote submissions based on originality, humor, or intelligence. Most often this model just descends into various images of a cartoon frog, and by God I wouldn't have it any other way. Turning your hobby into your work/profession. Science. Seriously, when I have to question who's funding your research. Every time I read a paper, we've utterly failed. So true. I do research at a VA hospital. If our study doesn't directly affect veterans or have implications that would save the government money in the long run, they don't want to hear it. What do you mean you want to repeat an experiment to test its validity? Somebody already has the results. Setting out a needed good of any kind for free. The question isn't if someone takes advantage of it, but when. My aunt put out an ice dresser. Some asshole kids came and just smashed it on the lawn. From then my theory is to just put a $5 sign on it to make people want to steal it. Jeff Foxworthy has a joke about how he put a couch on the curb with a sign that said free, and it sat there for 2 weeks. So he changed the sign to say $200, and it was stolen within 20 minutes. Leave a penny, take a penny. There always has to be some asshole who takes all the pennies. I have had multiple people try to explain take a penny, leave a penny to me, and I never get it. It's just a very alien concept in the UK. Say your total is $7/nuts/whatever. Well crap, all you have is 6.97. But all is not lost. There are 5 pennies in the tray. It is socially acceptable to take 3 of them to complete your transaction at this point. And if in the future you happen to have a few pennies included in your change, pitch them in the tray. World peace. Had to scroll way too far. Still looking for communism. The customer is always right. As someone who had worked retail for 20 years, this is probably the least true and most overused statement ever. People are assholes. Getting a job in retail, people suck. Any customer service job. People think that spending money, no matter the amount, directly or indirectly, entitles them to be treated better and also to treat others worse. The USA switching to the metric system. That's because people resist change, not because they are crappy. Aka crappy. Yellow traffic light. Other countries, please slow down and ready to stop. Edit. Your situation may vary. My country, look left right. If no police, go maximum speed before it turns red. You ever hit the point of no return? If I try to stop, I have to hammer on my brakes. If I want to make it through, I have to hammer on the gas. Sometimes, it's just a moment of panic. Hammering on the gas is safer than slamming on the brake. The rule that my driving instructor gave me was that if you have to brake so hard that it is dangerous to those behind you, then you can go through. Charities frick you executive directors who spend 90% of donations on your salaries and operating expenses and only use 10% for the people the charity is supposed to benefit. Point. That's right. I'm talking to you. American Red Cross, Susan G. Komen Foundation, Wounded Warrior Project, and the list goes on and on ad nauseum. I agree with some of the examples, but this metric alone is insufficient to judge a non-profit. Human capital is often one of the highest expenses for a non-profit, so it's not uncommon to see most of the annual budget for small and effective non-profits to go to its staff. Like it or not, non-profit staff need to be fairly compensated for what they do. Yes, I agree the director shouldn't be making millions, but that's not common if you look at non-profits as a whole. I remember when Locks of Love or some similar organization got in trouble because people found out they auction off some of the wigs they make. If you're not familiar with the concept, people send in their hair to be made into wigs for cancer patients. The charity tried to explain that yes, the hair is donated, but then the hair has to be sorted, treated, and made into wigs, which is not free, plus there are administration costs. So they auction off some wigs to pay all that, because no one really donates money to them. Gonna have to say, picking up strangers that need rides off the streets, not Uber or Lyft carpooling. I'm talking about you see a person asking for a ride and they don't have any money. Picking strangers up was more common back in the day, but I feel that now some jerks have ruined that for everyone. I feel like if people weren't as crappy, carpool would be a great way to reduce congestion and the amount of quota that cars leave. Trying to climb out of the crab bucket. The trick is to not tell anyone you're climbing until you're already out of the bucket and safely on the ground a few feet away. Actually pretty solid advice. No progress posts, no pics, no inspirational garbage about your lifestyle. Just do it, and when you are already pretty far along, then talk about it. Then when the crabs attack, you can just sit back and ignore them, cause you already know what you are doing is working. Helping random homeless. There is so much panhandling professionally that I don't trust to give $1 to a guy with a sign. They choose the same street corners all the time. The panhandling has gotten so bad in my town that the local government put up a billboard basically saying not to give your money to the panhandlers, but to give your money to local organizations that aid in helping the homeless. Soup kitchens and homeless shelters. Pay it forward. I'm sorry Kevin Spacey, we'll let you down. I can totally agree with this. I get paid every 2 weeks, and when I do I usually go out to eat twice that weekend and buy dinner for a random person/group without calling attention to myself or asking for anything in return. I've been doing this for years, only asking that the waitress tell them to pay it forward. Shortly before Christmas I bought an older couple their dinner, but had to use the restroom before I left. As I was walking out, the gentleman I purchased for tapped me on the shoulder and looked me in the eye saying, "Look here son, I just got my meal purchase for me. This is something your generation could do to show some respect." I just replied, "That's awesome, I'll keep that in mind," and walked out to my car. Again this weekend I witnessed a couple with 3 small children lose their collective crap because they weren't no and percent number 9 charity case and needed to see the manager. Poor guy got reamed for about 5 minuets before they left. I apologized profusely, but in the end was asked to not return to the restaurant. Other than those examples, I'm sure that is well received, or at least I hope so. I'm sorry if you work in the restaurant business and had somebody freak out on you because they got a free meal. Giving stuff away for free on local Facebook group pages. thinking you can do a nice thing giving away a baby cot and clothes etc. only to later see the guy you gave it all to sell it for cash. Still jaded about that. Or when you have a free items group and people come in and post things like ISO flat screen TV must be 40 inches or more and work perfectly, or ISO Michael Kors purse must be from this season, or only post ISOs and not post anything of their own to give away. Also pisses me off when new moms ask for clothes for their infant, all infant supplies under the sun, and clothes for their other 3 kids as well. Are you taking advantage of people's kindness, or are you just really bad at money management and planning? A couple months ago some lady on Facebook was asking if anyone had a free fridge since hers broke. A couple people offered her a free fridge and honestly they looked decent. She refused because they didn't have a ice maker. Dude even offered to cap the line. Nope, still refused. Faith lockers. Schools where there are no locks on lockers because we trust each other. That is the most naive idea I have read here so far. Hell, my school's lockers have locks and people's crap still gets stolen. In my high school the administration actually went to great lengths to convince students to use a lock. Most didn't, and a few times a year something would get stolen and the administration would have to deal with it, which is why they wanted everyone to use locks. Honestly though, I didn't use a lock for a large majority of my 4 years there and never had anything stolen. Granted, anything of value I kept with me, but textbooks, lunch, gym clothes, whatever I just left in there. For a while I even had a set of computer speakers I found in the dump in there with my locking number written on them in there. Half the school knew they were there and welcome to be used. Just put them back. At least 3 clubs I know of use them after school on various days and multiple groups of students use them during recess. Administration was pretty confused that a bunch of high schoolers could abide by the honor system when they called me into the office about that. Cleanliness and public toilets. Creating one anon Reddit account for all those stories you don't want to share because people might know / find out your username. It was started once in a thread much like this, and with 12 hours or so, someone changed the password and didn't share it. Basically, even though you're anonymous in theory, a shared anonymous account between all Reddit users. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. When people saw it, they would be able to click on it and just see a collection of stories from all different types of people on all different types of subreddits that they were too afraid to say with their screen name. Governments. Health insurance. Apparently, health insurance fails because it's a dumb system. The assholes are just there to make the experience worse. Insurance works for things that are unlikely to happen or are preventable. People getting sick or injured is unavoidable. The two models are incompatible. Peaceful protest. Hell, peaceful anything. You try to take the high ground and people take advantage. Just the way the world is. Nothing you can do about it. Such a cop-out to say that. No, the world is like that. BC crappy people never make any effort for personal growth. Turn signals. This was my first thought. Why people think you don't need to let other people on the road know where you are moving your 2-ton piece of metal is beyond me. For the IT people, Scrum. It's like communism. A great idea in theory, never done well in practice. My so works in it, and whenever he talks about scrums I can't help but picture a bunch of nerds playing rugby with an external HDD in the middle of an office. I love him, but it's more entertaining than the 10-minute rant he's on about how upper management don't understand crap, half of which I don't understand, because I'm not entirely sure what he actually does for a living, beyond occasionally setting stuff on fire to see if it still works. Your idea of it is pretty accurate. Drive on the right, pass on the left. People just do whatever they damn well please, so this gets all fricked up. Apparently affordable healthcare in the world's largest GDP nation. Self-scan checkouts. People just steal. The idea is great. You can check out faster, less staff, and you can see exactly what something costs. But people are crappy, and they just steal. They stole before this, but it's easier with self-scan checkouts. Also, they have an excuse. Maybe I forgot to scan it. Thieves don't walk out with trolleys full of stuff. They buy 8 times and steal 1 or 2. They always have an excuse if they get caught. Plus in the UK, if your excuse is legit enough, they won't do anything. The only people stealing more than the customers is the managers. Facebook, great idea, turned crappy by people thinking that I care about anything more than what is going on in life, not what you believe in. Recycling and actually putting trash in trash cans. Just freaking do it. Nintendo, anything Nintendo. Share you game with friends over link cable, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, just play together damn it. Nope. We are bringing out a console that also converts to a handheld. Wow, excellent idea Nintendo. Boo at it's got hardware from 5 years ago. Well, not great but I can live with it if the price is. It's gonna cost you the same as a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Wait what? Okay. Jesus. Well, at least me and my mates can play Splatoon online together. Yeah, you gotta pay for online now. We've been pretty clueless with online for years now, but we reckon we can wing it. Frick's sake Ninten. The extra controllers are gonna cost a bomb too. Everybody accelerating their cars at the same time when a traffic light switches from red to green. Democracy. In June British people voted en masse to leave the EU with no plan, often on misguided beliefs, and in spite of thousands of warnings from politicians and economists. In November America voted for Trump in spite his dubious morals, complete lack of political experience and repeatedly being found to have lied during his campaign. Democracy is bad, because the voters who won don't agree with me. Pick up your dog's crap when taking it for a walk. Switching over to renewable energy. We know it's the right thing to do for the earth, but a select few powerful companies are doing everything they can to stop that from happening. Elections when you have a 55% turnout, it's a joke when the implications of who you are voting for will affect your future. Any good idea that relies upon people not being crappy is, in fact, a crappy idea. Communism. Also, capitalism. Little free libraries. Some communities have issues with them being damaged, or all the books disappearing, probably to end up on Amazon. I don't know all the details, but my grandma somehow had a backpack that she had no use for, probably got it as a gift or something. She set it out by the exit doors of her apartment building, with a note taped to it, saying if you need this bag, take it. Later that day, the backpack was found with a note saying bomb. The whole apartment building had to be evacuated. The SWAT team came in. It was on the news. Trash cans in public places. I work at a beach and see this daily. People come and spend the day at the beach with their family and they bring all sorts of food and drinks in order to enjoy their day at a good beach. But when those assholes leave, they manage to ignore the fact that they are leaving behind all of their trash. And this trash ranges from plastic bags all the way to dirty diapers. It's especially aggravating because we have trash cans literally, and I'm using this word as it is meant to be used, lined all the way down the beach with no more than 20 yards between each one. People suck. Public transportation, in a way. At the moment, I'm traveling on one of the metros of Budapest, sitting on a bench-like seating. At the end of the bench, it is supposed to fit 6 people. I'm sitting here, and 2 frictards are sitting next to me, with their legs spread out, so that nobody can sit next to them, or go past them without falling over. Also, if our government spent money on repairing the most used metro line instead of building new sports stadiums, then maybe it wouldn't catch on fire every 2 weeks. I would love that. Taxes. Doubt anyone will ever read this besides me, but taxes are a great idea. Everyone chips in, and we get things we all benefit from. Problem is, we are taxed unfairly, and funds are totally mismanaged. Early access on Steam. I'm still jaded, thank you DayZ. Grocery store/restaurants, big and small, donating extra food to those in need. With the liability, if the person chooses to sue you for getting sick, it's just not worth the risk to many businesses. John Oliver talked about this in his food waste story. You can't be sued for someone getting sick of donations. I think in the States at least. Has anyone mentioned listening to the experts? The idea is that these people spend their entire lives learning about one subject, so the rest of us can just ask them instead of learning about it ourselves. No person can know everything about everything, so we trust them to know it for us. These days we've had enough of experts and talk about how experts built the Titanic while amateurs built the Ark. It's like we've suddenly decided that knowledge and experience make a person inherently untrustworthy. That, or we are too cool to let a little thing like facts get in the way. Just take what you need and give the rest to others. The world would really be an amazing place. Incomprehensibly amazing. Even if people were good, I don't think this is ideal, because there is a big difference between need and deserve. Also want. I want things I don't need.